What's going on, beautiful people? This here is my first ever 8-foot tank, like my own personal one. I've scaped one before, but this is the first one that was in my own studio. It's been 6 months. I've learned a ton, but it's time to switch it up a bit. Now, when I say I learned a lot from the tank, that is because I was quite apprehensive about having it to begin with. So much bigger than anything I was used to, and I just wondered if the methods that I used on smaller scale would work on this larger scale. But it turns out there was no reason for me to be fearful because it's worked an absolute treat, and it's given me so much confidence now to start the next project. All I have to do is stick to the methods that I know work, methods that I'll show you throughout this series, and I know the new tank will be looking probably better, if I'm honest, than the original 8-foot Utopia. So I'm guessing you've read the title by now, and it's gonna be Amazonia. I think that's quite a cool name, rather than Amazon tank. Amazonia, it just feels like it's its own entity. Now, I absolutely love all of my fish that I've got in here. I've had a lot of them since they were babies, and they're growing up nice and big. And they suit Amazon, style fish keeping. We've got angelfish, we've got keyhole cichlids, tetra that are from the Amazon. So yeah, I don't want to change the fish. I'm really happy with them, but I do want to change the whole style of the tank. Now, the style that we've got here is much more of like a traditional naturescape on a large scale. That's what got me into the fish keeping hobby anyway, so that's the first thing I wanted to do in this tank, and it worked really well. I'm just ready for a change. When I first started the hobby, I was all about creating environments and then putting the fish in to sort of accentuate what had been created. Accentuate? Is that? Yeah, we'll go with that. But as time's gone on, I've been much more interested in fish behavior and being able to see fish in their sort of natural environment and trying to make that environment as awesome as I can so that it looks good, but it's also great for the fish. Now, don't get me wrong, this tank does look good and is good for the fish, but it's not really something you'll see in the wild. But what I've got planned next should be. I've been doing my research, I've been looking up loads and loads of underwater footage. Now, a lot of Amazon rivers are quite algified, if that's a word. We're gonna go for that, but without the algae. But if there is a little bit dotted around, it is not the end of the world. I'm not gonna worry about it at all, but it shouldn't really happen, to be honest. There's no algae in this tank at all. Now, when I say no algae, I'm always talking about really horrible visual thread algae. There's always in every aquarium background levels of algae. So look at this rock. You can see there's a green spot on that algae on there, which is good because our plecos, bristlenose, can go around getting a food source. But what we don't want to see is streams of string algae just going absolutely nuts. If you've got that going on, it's probably too much lighting or there's too much nutrients, or probably a combination of the two. And that's something that should be addressed in the aquarium. There's an imbalance somewhere. And usually it's trial and error to be able to get rid of it. But we have got a lot of fish in this tank. So what are we going to do with them all? Well, I've currently got a lot of tanks free and available on the fish wall behind me, and they'll be absolutely fine for all the small tetras and things like that. There's plenty of room for them in there. But the angels are a lot bigger, and I don't think I want to be putting them in a little 45-centimeter tank. So yeah, all the tetras, I've got an empty one there. I've got 4 empty ones at the back, a couple at the bottom. So we're sorted for the tetra. And this tank here, next to Timmy, say hello, Timmy. You've been fed, so don't be greedy. Yeah, this tank here has currently got my red devil angelfish and an absolute ton of cardinals. The cardinals will be coming out to go on another scape, which means that I can put the other angels in with these ones, and I'm probably gonna put them all back together again after the build is complete. Now, this is good. It means all the fish are sorted. There's no need to rush it. I can really take my time with it. I don't have to put them in the same day, the next day. I can wait till the tank is right to actually put the fish back in, get all the plants grown in a little bit as well, so they don't get disturbed in the substrate. But it is gonna take a while to break this all down, and I'm gonna need to start by removing the plants. Now, a lot of the stems, I've got duplicates of them in tons of other aquariums, and the next tank that we're putting in, the Amazonia one, it's not going to be stem-based. There will be some, don't get me wrong, but nothing like the amount that we have now and have had in this tank. Things like Anubias, and we've got some beautiful crypts here as well. Definitely want to reuse those. I mean, they're not native to the Amazon, but I'm not going for a complete biotope where every fish and every single plant and the wood and the gravel and everything has to be from the Amazon itself. That is what's known as a biotope, when you try and make everything exactly as it is. It can be quite limiting, especially in the number of plants and things like that. So we're going for it in the style of an Amazon river, rather than it being an exact replica. It's a fish tank in England, I mean. Now, I don't want you to think that doing something like this and breaking down a tank I've had for 6 months is easy. As I'm doing it, I'm thinking, why are you doing this? but the other side of me knows that the new one will be even better. I like to come up with fresh things, and that's exactly what we're doing. Okay, that is half of the plants out. And I've got quite a good little system going on down here. So we've got one bucket just for stuff that's like degraded and not good, not reusable. Well, it would be, but I wouldn't want to use it again because it's all sort of scraggly. We've got really good plants in this one, stems, crypts, all that sort of thing. And this one is what's holding all of the epiphytes. I'll go through them. I'll take out any of the sort of rough looking leaves, and then you're left with like really mature, good plants. So now it's time to clear out the other side. That water has cleared so fast. I just had some lunch and we're already clear. We'll get to the filters and everything that's doing that in a little while, but for the minute it's not actually important, is it? I just need to clear this side. Look at that, it's like night and day. Right, we have got a ton of reusable plants there. Not too many thrown out actually, and they would have recovered if replanted, that sort of thing, but just a little bit scraggly. So I've got all of these down here. There's way more than it actually looks. This goes like 3 layers deep as well, different crypts. We've got an Echinodorus. We've got loads of stems as well, if I want to use them. I mean, we can use a few stems. I just don't want it stem heavy like it was before. Lots of crud and that floating around the water. I think I'm going to try and get the wood out. It's going to be a right pain, but then it means that the top part of the water is completely clear and I can just get in and just like net everything out. Oh, this is an interesting piece of wood. It's completely hollow in the middle, so I need to be careful there's no bristlenose in there because that's exactly the type of place they'd like to breed in. I am making so much mess on the floor. There's just water everywhere. Oh, this is much heavier than when I put it in because it's obviously fully waterlogged. Oh, right. Very awkward as well. I'm gonna put it on the floor, check for any bristle noses. Bristle noses? Is that the plural? I think, get the light on, I think we're fine. What I like to do in this instance when I take out wood like this, I'll just leave it here for a bit, and if they do want to get out, you'll see them sort of come out pretty quickly as they look for a water source. So I'll keep an eye on that. Oh, I filled this piece full of rocks to sort of weigh it down at the start, and I don't want them to fall out on the glass. I think they're lodged in. Soon find out. Yeah, they seem pretty good. Oh, there we go, fish coming out, shrimp coming out. Look at that, look, we've got a marnose on the floor and we've got bristlenose. Let me pick them up. Oh, there we go, had to be quick. Those are all the rocks that are in there, and it was like it became this perfect little refuge for the shrimp. And I think I got out 1 bristlenose and I think about 5 or 6 Amano shrimp. Now, I didn't know what to do with them, so I put them in the new self-sustaining ecosystem. Well, I say new, it's getting on for a month old now, but yeah, I put them in there just to add to that. Brings that total up to about 10 Amano shrimp, which is probably perfect for this sort of size tank. This is all doing great, by the way. This video's coming out. You'll see more of this as we go. Because even though this tank is a series, this is also an ongoing series, so just think of them as like separate entities. Do you know what is so weird? Stood here, looking at the tank without everything in it. It's quite cool though, being able to see all the fish in this way. And I have noticed that we've lost some fish and we've gained some fish. For instance, there is a flagacara and there's a much, much smaller one right above it, which is obviously its baby. Now I did put in a good 6 or 7 flagacara. I'm only seeing 3 or 4 adults now, but there's lots of babies as well. Well, they're not babies anymore, look at them, they're juveniles. So I suppose that is quite representative of an ecosystem that, you know, would be on a larger scale, of course. But it's nice to know that babies are being born. Take, for instance, at the back there, we've got all those cories. This is very difficult, guys. That one right in the center, look, is much smaller than the rest, so that must have been born in here because I put them in a long time ago and they were all adults. And the size of the keyholes now as well, they're so much bigger than when I first got them. They were like, I'd say 1/3 of the size now, looking so good. They're such a really nice, peaceful fish. And they seem to get along so well with the angels. There's never any squabbling between them. I don't think they consider each other a threat, more of just like, not a symbiotic relationship because they don't benefit from each other, but they do get along really well. The thing with keyhole cichlids, they're not massively flashy, but they're just such a nice fish. I'd definitely recommend keyholes for anyone who would be interested. And there's a better shot of that young flagacara there. Awesome. Right, I now need to drain this thing down, get out the rest of the hardscape, and then I can catch the fish. It's going to be way too difficult right now because they just all swim out the way. So we need to bring that water level down to about there. I can get in there then, remove everything apart from the sand, and then it should be easy to scoop them all. So how do we drain this much water without like sucking up all the fish? So I've got my big hose going in and I'm just gonna siphon it out the door, but it's got a big end on it and it creates quite a lot of suction. So I need to cover that up with a net. She is here, no, she's not here. So I'll loop the net over the end and then just use the clamp to hold it to the piece. And then in a bit, when I need to go deeper, I can just put the whole thing in. So that took way longer than I expected, but you know, we're there now. And you can see that I've got the water height so that when I put my net in, I can cover the whole sort of cross section of the water, but everything will get caught up in the net at the moment. So now I've just got to take everything out. Completely forgot to get a new ladder as well for this project. So I have to keep avoiding this, else there will be serious injury. Oh, that's everything taken out. We've got a lot of stuff to be able to put back in as well. Because I'm pretty sure I want to use all the same hardscape. Must remember to take that label off this time. Yeah, I'm going to use all the same hardscape, but I'm going to add to it as well. I want a lot more stoniness to this one. But now everything's clear in the foreground and we can just scoop the fish out. I've got a tub here, I filled that up with the water that came out of the tank. It's easy to separate them out after they're in there into their individual tanks. Right, that went pretty quick and worked well, so minimizing any discomfort. All the fish are in. It's a case of scooping them out of here and separating them. Not into like individual species or anything, just size. I mean, the angels can go in a bigger tank, the rest can go in the 45cm fish wall and be fine there for the time being. Right, all the fish have been transferred in here. We've got all of the angels. Look at the size difference. Absolute beast. And we've also got the flagger cara and keyhole cichlids. Keyhole cichlids are now very shy. They went and hid straight away, but they're absolutely fine. It all went quickly and smoothly, so that's all good. We've got tetra and different bristle nose in there, and amano shrimp, same in this one, and then the same in this one as well. So there's not much of a bioload in each one. It's spread around, it should be absolutely fine. Obviously these tanks all don't look nice, but that's not the point of them. A little bit of algae is good. It keeps it all cycled and, you know, consuming nitrite, ammonia, that kind of thing. So I don't really tend to clean these, unless it's really bad, but you know, they're pretty good to be fair. So it's now the next day and all the fish have settled in great. I've been around and checked all the tanks, everyone's healthy and doing well. The angels are nice and comfortable, and as you can see at the back, the flagger cara and the keyhole cichlids, well, you can't see now because this guy wants the limelight. But yeah, in the background there are the keyholes and a few flagger cara. So everything is good. There's no need to rush the project and we can take our time and get it perfect. The only thing still left in the tank is a large group of amano shrimp. They're a little bit too hard to catch with the fish and I ran out of time yesterday. So the way to get those out is to drain the tank right down and they'll all come right to the foreground. There we go, so there's still 6 amanos in there. Look, 3 females, 3 males. So you can tell the size difference between the males and the females. Females are carrying an absolute ton of eggs, but they will hatch, but they'll die very, very quickly because they need like a perfect amount of brackish water that you then have to sort of change as time goes by. Apparently it's a very, very difficult process to breed them in captivity, so yeah, I won't be attempting that. And there was also 1 more Cory and 1 more bristle nose in there, which I caught out and put over in the fish wall. But it's always the way with these tanks, like you drain them down, you think you've got everything. I guarantee there's still 1 more of something in there. And there was. My wife just stopped by and straight away said, there's a Cory in the front. Did you know that? He's gone over on the fish wall. And we have got some fantastic news. The plants have arrived. Now we're obviously nowhere near planting at this stage, but you know, we've got to get them out, get them in their storage tanks. What have we got? Oh. And there we have it. Oh, they look so sumptuous, don't they? So for like finer detail, I've gone for Liliopsis novae zealandia, which is so similar to Braziliensis that, you know, it's the perfect sort of substitute, if you like. I've gone for Eleocharis axillaris, which gives us a grassy effect. And then Helanthium tenellum, just sort of creep everywhere as well, and Helanthium bolivium as well. So we've got all those different textures, they'll all merge in together, which will look really cool and authentic. We've got a ton of different Echinodorus. We've got smaller ones like Echinodorus red pearl, which, you know, will just give us some red tones down lower as well, because they stay quite small. Then we've got taller ones like your traditional Amazon plant, which is Blari. I think it's pronounced like that. Blari. So tall, sort of thinner leaves. Again, they won't look like this within a couple of months. They'll look completely different. But yeah, got to get these all stored now. And I've got other plants we'll use all down in these storage tanks as well. We've got Altananthras, we've got Ludwigias as well, which is native. So I think I'll definitely go for a few of the Ludwigias as well. And as you can see, all of the plants are from Aquafleur. That's all I ever use, guys. So good quality. I've been ordering from them for several years now. And absolutely perfect. I mean, look at this. Look at the density of that pot. You can't go wrong, can you? Yeah, look out for Aquafleur plants at your shops. They don't. It's not sponsored or anything, but if they don't have them, just ask them to get them. And storing them, guys, is very easy. What I do is just put them in the tank like that. I'll now fill the water level up to halfway up the basket, and then I'll just wrap some cling film over the top, and that should lock in the moisture. They'll actually continue to grow like that as well and get much bigger. If I was going to be having them in there for like long term, like a month or so, I'd space them out a lot more, but it's only going to be, I don't know, like a week or so. So yeah, I'm fine with them quite dense in there at the moment. And there we have it. Like, if I spaced them out a little bit more, they could be there indefinitely and just keep on growing. Because the rock wool is full of nutrients from when they've been grown in vats. Like, I've had them for months and months before, to the point where all Echinodorus are just growing right out the top as well. And in the last video I did, which was an update on this tank here, the self-sustaining aquarium, I asked you guys about some options of how to scape the tank, and yeah, we've got some answers. Now, the majority of people were saying that we should do one island at the side, branching out into negative space at the end. So that was my first initial thought, what I wanted to do. Quite a lot of people as well were saying the dual islands with the gap in the middle. And then one person, I can't even see where the comment was, but one person said, if you have like one island one side and open space the other, a lot of them are just going to congregate over this side, which makes sense. So how about we do like a happy medium, main structure, main sort of planting all over this side, feathering down as we go here, and then a smaller island just over this side, just as an area of refuge, so it makes sense for the fish to want to go across there. But this being the main piece, and then like an outcrop, I think that will look really, really good. Ow! Stone just fell on my ankle. And I was going to be taking out all of this substrate system and redoing it, but there's literally no point in that. There is so much more nutrients left in there, ready for new growth. We can also top it up with root tabs. And I actually love how sort of authentic it looks. Now the layers have started to merge and things. It's the sort of thing that you'd see when you look at underwater footage of the tank. So yeah, I'm not going to change it out. What I'll do, next episode, we are going to be doing the full scape on the whole tank. And what I'll do is I'll run through exactly how I create the substrate system so that anyone who wants to replicate can actually have that as reference. I'll try and keep it interesting as well for those of you that have already seen it but just want to recap. It's not very complicated, to be honest. It's the same thing I do in all of my aquariums, and it works really, really well. I mean, this is evidence enough of how well it was growing, how well it was at the end. Bear in mind, at the end there, when I took everything down, I haven't had CO2 running on it for months, just because I didn't want the growth to continue so fast. It was so much to keep up with this big 8 foot. Getting in and out of it is difficult. So that's why we're switching up this time. We're going for bigger leafed, slower growing sort of plants, and just trying to create that really authentic feel. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. Hopefully you're looking forward to the next one. Make sure you're subbed and everything. And yeah, I'll see you then.